Right, folks, can I have your attention there, please? I know some of you are still dining there, but before we get a wee cup of tea and cake, I think there will begin proceedings there for the night. In case folks don't know me, some of the folks that don't know me there, my name's Derek Graham. I'm the club chairman for Omagh Motor Club. And it is with great pleasure there to welcome you to this special night to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Bushwhacker Rally. It's hard to believe that 50 years has passed from the inaugural event in 1975. The club was very active previously in the 60s and early 70s with hill climbs and navigation road rallies, and initially ventured into the forest with events known as the Cam Rally and the Dunoman Rally. However, during 1974, the committee proposed that the club seek to obtain a road closing order. And the club secretary and stalwart, a certain Harry Johnson, organised the first tarmac rally. This was no ordinary rally. 22 separate stages over a two-day period on tarmac roads within Omagh and Castlederrick areas and beyond. This was an ultimate challenge to machines and competitors alike, which in turn evolved into the Ulster Rally the year after. The event was won by Ronnie McCartney and Mike Hart in a Porsche, and I'm delighted to see some of Ronnie's family in attendance, as well as Mike at this nostalgic event, as well as all the past competitors in attendance tonight. For me personally, the Bushwhacker Rally is a special event. I was initially a spectator back in the early 80s, captivated by the speed and magical sounds of rally cars as they raced through Lochbraden forests, and had the privilege of competing on the stages for a short period before transitioning to roles in event administration and safety, where I continue these functions to the present day. Today, it stands as one of the major forestry events in Ireland, a testament to the dedication and passion of everybody involved in Omagh Motor Club. But a special mention must also go to Dara Forestry Service for their cooperation and assistance over the decades, which was most evident with their prompt response to the devastation in the West Tyrone Forest from Storm Ewan earlier this year. I must acknowledge the time and effort invested by various individuals that have gone into researching the history of this rally, and a special thanks to all the local contributors and local photographers with material and they are listed in the acknowledgement section of the brochure that you've received tonight. It would also be remiss for me not to mention the other contributors whose endeavours over the past 50 years has kept this rally prominent in local newspapers and motorsport magazines. This unseen commitment has provided us with a rich and extensive historical record of the rally, with some of this material on display tonight, and it's also in the souvenir brochure. If you don't get a chance to have a proper viewing of the displays tonight, don't worry, we will be displaying this material again in the main hall where Rally HQ is based at the Agricultural Showground Complex next weekend, and you're most welcome to come along and have a browse at your leisure. As with all events of this type, a fair amount of work is required, and it's amazing to see you all here tonight, and special mention must go to committee members Gary Milligan and Louise Hannon for their exceptional work in organising this special event. I also have great delight in welcoming Plum here in hosting this event, the interviews. I'm sure we're going to hear some interesting stories later on. But I trust that this memorable and nostalgic night will live in our memories for many years to come. And hopefully we'll see you all out at the 50th Bushwhacker Rally next weekend, in which we have a packed entry of over 130 crews.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a night we're having. For those who have had the misfortune, I'm Alan Plumtindall, and it's a real pleasure to be with you this evening on this big, big night, this 50th anniversary. Now, it opened with two sensational videos, I must say. And I want to say that Godfrey Crawford, how you managed to get a record of every single year of the winners of this event, that's absolutely unique for a club to have that. Now, the other thing that was totally amazed me was the way you were able to produce a stills photograph and turn it into a movie. That's AI. That's what's coming. That's what's here. AI, madam, not artificial insemination. Artificial intelligence, amazing. Now, I know that Godfrey doesn't have it himself, but he knows a man that has, and that's what it's all about. Okay? Now, 50 years, we should be all right here tonight, because they say that when you get to this age, you have a long-term memory, but you can't remember what happened yesterday, Tuesday, or was it Monday, you know. Anyway, not to worry. We're going back 50 years. We're going back to 1975. And what a time that was. Just imagine, the Vietnam War had just ended. Maggie Thatcher was the first prime minister, first female prime minister. She was installed. Very importantly, the Bay City Rollers were at number one in the charts for 6 weeks, singing, what was it? Bye Bye Baby Bye Bye. Probably not one of the greatest numbers of all time, but it was written by Phil Coulter, and it probably meant that he could afford to come and do the rally. So it was also the time when a certain gentleman called Bill Gates came up with a company called Microsoft. What use is that to us, we thought. And also it was the first time that microcomputers were beginning to be used in the home, and digital cameras also. And again, we wondered, what's that all about? And even Godfrey Crawford didn't have one. So there we are. That was 50 years ago. And you know, things haven't really changed all that much, because here we are 50 years later. Prices are galloping. We're heading towards inflation, hopefully not. So things change, some things change, but some things don't. But one thing that was for sure on that day was that the Bushwhacker Rally didn't show any signs of recession. The entry was fantastic. We had 8 Porsche Carreras, we had 3 Mark I Escorts RSC 1600s, 2 BMWs 2002s, and an Alpine A110. Amazing, absolutely an amazing entry. And the talent. 2 McCartneys, Adrian Boyd, Brian Nelson, Mervyn Johnson, Hugh O'Brien, Jan Churchill was here from across the sea, and a young and unknown fellow came up the road from Fermanagh called Bertie Fisher. But there was no Cathal Curley. Well, that's not a strictly true, but we'll go into that in some detail in a minute or two. So let me welcome on stage some of those men that made history that day. Desi McCartney, ladies and gentlemen. The runner-up in 1975. Mike Hart, the winning navigator in that year. Mike, come on up. Derek Smith, who would guide that young Mr. Fisher to 7th place overall in an RS 2000, and then go on to become a bit of a bushwhacker legend. And, yes, Cathal Curley. A bit of an also-ran, but more of that later. Up you come, Cathal. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen, the first of our panel. Very nice to have you here. Desi, of course, runner-up that day. Why did you let Ronnie beat you?
He was faster after all.
2 Porsches.
It was faster.
Yep.
And he had 5 more years experience.
Right.
There you are.
You were the young boy. Of course, this is McCartney country. We're in Omagh. This is where you all brought up, weren't you?
I moved out in 60 odd, you see. So.
Right. But where did you live? Where did you live down the road here?
I lived in Omagh.
Yeah.
Up the street.
And your dad, what business was he in?
He was a farmer, grocery business,
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
And where'd you get the motoring bug?
That's, I don't know. I think it must have been Ronnie got it from somewhere, and then I got it from him.
Right.
That's how I see it anyway.
And you were great friends and great rivals. You always supported each other throughout your careers. It was a great camaraderie.
Yeah, we were very, very lucky that way, because as 2 brothers, we were happy enough to compete with each other and compete against each other. And if one done better or worse, it was in the family. We liked it. It was superb to get a 1-2 in the Bushwhacker Rally that year and the following year. So,
And of course, the big change, really, a big difference to today was it was a tarmac event.
it was, yeah. Well, I liked tarmac right enough. Ronnie liked gravel. So then Ronnie went on to do many more years after that in the Bushwhacker and the gravel. And I went heading towards wrecking, pace notes, things like that. Ronnie didn't like pace notes. He liked a one-day gravel rally and enjoy it and get on with it.
No, he was incredible here. I mean, his record is unbelievable. 6 wins in 5 different cars. Porsche, twice in an RS 2000, the Avenger, the Sunbeam, the Chevette. He was Mr. Bushwhacker, wasn't he, really?
I think he was.
Yeah. And what was it? Why was he so good on the loose? Because loose rallies weren't that plentiful in Northern Ireland at the time.
He started off a long time ago, of course, on motorbikes, and scrambling and that sort of thing. And he got a great feel for how to move a car and how to know where the limit of it is, and still keep it as near on the road as possible. And I had an incredible talent. I mean, I was very fortunate to have a brother like that. I was very, very fortunate to be able to sit with him at times. And mind you, in my early days when I was about 12, when I was about 12, 13 years old, and he was, say, 5 years older, so he had his license, and he used to attempt to scare the life out of me all the time, because some years before that I was involved in an accident in Shannaboken, and I was quite scared of cars, in fact, incredibly scared of cars, and we would have an A40 van, I think we delivered groceries with, and it was his delight to make it go as hard as possible and watch what I was doing. And I was very scared of it, actually. In fact, I thought I would never get into a car again. So, maybe things changed.
Of course you did, and very successfully. You won the Galway Rally, you won the Ulster Rally, a lot of cups sitting up there on the McCartney sideboard.
Yeah, we're lucky enough, very lucky.
Yeah.
It's been an incredible time to rally, actually, and it's been nice to have it back to those days, but it's never going to be like that,
When you look back on old Ronnie's wins here, is there any one that you particularly remember?
Well, I think the best win he had was the 64 circuit.
Oh, yeah.
That's going way back, and it was an incredible achievement for. In 1963, he almost won the circuit. In 64, he had a lot of opposition. He had a lot of trouble with the car, and Terry and him kept the car together. And the incredible thing about that 64 year, he had a problem with the sump in the car, and there was leaking a lot of oil, and there was everywhere. Guys appeared out of the wood with another gallon of oil, and they got him to the finish. It was incredible, actually. And there was a guy called Bill Bengry. You may or may not have heard of him.
Yes,
from
indeed.
Wales.
Yeah.
And Bill kept saying to Ronnie, "You can win this rally. You keep going." And Ronnie did.
And what a win it was with Terry Harriman, of course, who also accompanied you in some of your successes.
Terry sat with me, or sat with Ronnie a lot of times, and then sat with me for a lot of pace note rallies. At this point in time, I was more interested in pace note events, and Ronnie was not so. So Terry and I got on quite well there.
Well, that 1964 event, we were never allowed to forget. Ronnie would remind you very frequently, about twice a day if you were in the company. And I don't know really if I should tell this story, but I was under extraordinary circumstances in Florida one time with Ronnie and a guy called Gordon Anderson, who some of you will know in the room here. And we happened to blunder into what they call, I think, a lap dancing club. And here we were at one of these round tables, and Anna McCartney and her friend, equal age, was sitting having a cup of tea at one end of the table. Gordon Anderson was here, I was here, and Ronnie was there. And he was saying, the 1964 Circuit of Ireland, we would use 70 gallons of oil. How we got to the end of it, I don't know. And the poor young lady who was in the middle of the table with no clothes on and jiving to the music was trying to get his attention. And he had no interest in even looking at her. Desi, if only he had the tires, Desi would have gone, And I was trying to concentrate on Ronnie and put a passing look at this young lady in the middle of the table. And Anna and her friend sitting having a cup of tea like a Mothers Union Institute on the other side. This is God's honest truth. And Ronnie eventually, she came to the end of her act, and I can't tell you which way our legs were splayed. But Ronnie looked around and he says, "That's a bit dry." Like a gearbox. Anyway, that's beside the point. I must ask you one more question. This fabulous magazine that they produced here. You're all so well dressed.
Well,
did you all go to the same tailor or something?
No, I heard you had got a tie, and I bought one as well. In
Yeah.
fact, I brought two.
Right,
The trouble is I couldn't figure out which one to use, so I asked my friend Ken McDivitt.
right.
So if it's the wrong colour, it's his fault.
No, but in the program, everybody has, and you've got a beautiful pair of trousers on. You know, there must have been a very good tailor in Omagh. Right, we move on because we've got so many to go through here tonight.
One thing I'd like to see, it's great to see Ruth McCartney here.
Yes, absolutely.
She's in the crowd here.
Right, round of applause.
It brings another tradition of our McCartney into the fold.
Absolutely, yeah.
Really
So
pleased, Ruth, thank you.
we had two McCartneys in the first Bushwhacker, and we've two here tonight. Isn't that lovely? Right.
Yeah. And second year the same way, yeah.
Okay, the gentleman next door to you, he won the rally that year. And what a privilege that was, sitting with Ronnie. Do you remember it well?
I do indeed, yes. It's a long time ago, 50 years, and I wasn't actually Ronnie's full-time navigator at that stage. I started with Ronnie in '65, the year after he won the circuit, and I think we maybe did 4 or 5 circuit Irelands. But Ronnie must have been stuck for a co-driver, so he phoned me and asked me would I sit with him, and I said yes. And a very fast driver, and I was delighted. And it was the first time I'd actually sat in a Porsche, and it was like sitting in a train on a track. I was amazed how stable the car was.
So, Mike Hart, you're in the record books for all time as the winner of the first Bushwhacker Rally,
Yes.
and you're here 50 years on. That's some achievement.
Yes, well, I'm 83 years of age now, so
You're only a pup. You're only a pup. What else do you remember about that day?
well, I know we were very lucky that day because, as anybody reads Derek's reports on Facebook, or from Dungannon Motor Club, we had trouble with the clutch, and it was thanks to Joe Pat O'Kane, who wasn't far behind us. We were number 4, he was number 10, I think. Came along and saw us in trouble, and the service crew was with us, and he was able to produce, as the report says, a piece of Bakelite out of the front pocket, gave it to Ronnie, and within 5 minutes we were on our road again.
That was rallying. Everybody helped everybody, didn't they?
It kept the cable in place, that wee plastic thing.
Yeah.
It was about £1 worth of plastic was the difference in either not driving forward or going and stop.
Right.
Fantastic bit of.
Great. Yeah.
And also, maybe I shouldn't say this, but Ronnie said, what about going out for a Sunday drive? And as you know, all the road closing orders were in the paper, so everybody knew what stages, not exactly where the start or finish was. But so I said, yes, we'll go. And he said, we'll go in your car. I had a Hillman Hunter at the time, and we did a few of the local stages, Clannabogan, Sion Finn, Gordon Glen. And at the bottom of Gordon Glen, as everybody knows, well, it's not there now, but there used to be a humpback bridge. And it's the first and only time the Hillman Hunter was airborne. Remember that?
Great memories, great memories. And Derek, sorry.
And the actual rally, at the end of the rally, the Avon rep came up and presented Ronnie and I with a rally jacket. He says, your car was the farthest in the air going over the humpback bridge at the bottom of the Glen stage.
Right, very good indeed. Airborne jacket. Okay, Derek, you were a very young man in 1975 when you sat with a rising star, Mr. Bertie Fisher.
That's right. I had competed in Donegal that year with Bertie as a kind of stand-in navigator, and we got on really well. So we said, well, we'll do the Manx and we'll do the Bushwhacker. And I'll tell you, that run out the Clannabogan stage, it was only a short stage, but that was a serious introduction to what Bertie Fisher could do. It was absolutely unbelievable. And because we were going to the Manx about 3 weeks later, we got a bit of a lead in the Group 1 class. And I said to Bertie, look, you know, you've got a 4-minute lead here. We can afford to take it easy. But taking it easy wasn't in Bertie's nature. He was absolutely standing up on the thing. And I kept saying, easy, 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 easy. So I got the nickname Easy. And so Easy Derek, from that time on, when you worked with Sidney Meek and the gang, you always had a nickname.
I think that's what the lap dancer was called in Florida, Easy.
Easy. Yeah, so of course we went to the Manx, we made it to the Manx, and unfortunately that was the end of that car in the Manx. But Bertie was a fantastic driver. He wasn't as famous as he was later to become, but that was one of his turning events in his rally career.
So how did you get invited into the McCartney clan?
Well, there's a story there too, because we fell out in 1974 on the Cam Rally, and Ronnie advised me that I would never ever sit in a car with him, and so I had to make do with that. But relations thawed over the next few years, and then we went and we did Galway in '76. And we got on well, enjoyed the sport. It was always exciting to sit with Ronnie. Ronnie had an uncanny feel for grip and loved it when the car was like floating. He loved it. When the car would break away, he could drive it on the throttle, and it was absolutely fantastic. That's why he enjoyed the gravel so much. And you never had to encourage him to go quickly. He did that of his own accord. The only thing with Ronnie was that as soon as the car would stop at a start of a stage or a time control, he would jump out of the car immediately, and you were in danger of losing track of where he was. And so you had to always watch the clock, watch where Ronnie was, go and get him gathered up. He was talking to somebody or chatting to somebody on a service crew or whatever, and get him back into the car again. So he was a little bit of a liability in that sense, but fantastic to sit with.
I can vouch for that, because certainly in the Galway Rally in '72, I was sitting with Ronnie and navigating, and every time you got to a service, you got out of the car, like Derek said, and he disappears into the crowd, and then you're watching the time. And I was being very careful at that time, because the first big rally I had done was a navigator, and you have to chase round, come back. You have to keep him back into the car.
He was probably buying something. He was out doing a deal. He was buying something.
Well, you see, we had to do a few quid, or a few deals to get a few pounds to keep the next car together.
Yeah. Now, but I'm going to bring you on to 1977 in the Hillman Avenger. You were having an absolute ding-dong battle with Robin Lyons, another great driver from this part of the world. And in a funny sort of sense, you won that rally, not Ronnie. Maybe you could explain that to us.
Well, because we had won it in '76, we were car number 1 in '77. So, and Robin Lyons, who was a great competitor and always hard to beat in this part of the world, he was running number 2 behind us. So when we would finish the special stage, we would wait until he would come into view. The timekeepers in the car would call out the time, so we knew exactly what his time was as well. And so we were going through the rally backwards and forwards, wasn't much in it. In fact, we finished the rally tied on overall time. But Ronnie was the winner because he was fastest on the first stage by 1 second, faster than Robin. And it was a very close affair. But the Bushwhacker in the McCartney camp created a kind of a strange atmosphere. It was really tense when it came Bushwhacker time. And the nerves were on edge, and Ronnie was always interested. What time had he there, and how far away I had to hear? What's Hugh O'Brien doing? Any sign of David Lindsay? You know, so as a navigator, you were gathering up all these times, and you had the results done almost before the rally was over. But you had to keep him informed so he knew how he was doing. And he was 3 behind going into the last stage, and he took 3 off Robin in that last stage to tie the event.
We could sit with these men all night telling these stories. Wonderful. But we have so many people to meet tonight. We've got to keep moving it on. And I'm going to move it down to another gentleman who you may recognise, been around for a while. And it was almost no show, Curly, in the first event, wasn't it, Carol? There was a bit of a problem. Miss Harry Johnson was trying to get you to enter. And there was a bit of a mix-up, was there?
I don't recall that, Paul. But,
You were to go with Jan Churchill, I think, at first, in the bush.
Yes.
Why didn't that work?
To tell you nothing but honest truth, I forget. But
You're allowed to, Cal, you're allowed.
yeah, I was about to say to everyone, a very good evening to everyone. Those that don't know me, my name is Cathal Curley. I didn't do a lot of rallying, and I retired in 75, 76, so I never had the pleasure of doing the Bushwhacker. But when I looked at people like Robbie McGork doing it, I was kind of glad I didn't have to do it. But there's a young man here tonight who is associated with every motor club within reason. And he's here tonight, and I would like you to give a round of applause to a young man here in a wheelchair, young Dolan from Mahayarn.
Yeah.
And let me say, Plum, there'd be no rally in Omagh if it wasn't for Earl Knox, Hugh O'Brien, Ian McFarlane, and Harry Johnson. And I must tell you a funny story. Those of you here who knew of Harry Johnson, Harry at one stage decided that the club would run an economic run with cars to see who could achieve the highest mileage per gallon. And I was asked to participate, but I didn't have a suitable vehicle. So Austin Fraser and Mervyn Johnson, God rest Austin, and Mervyn Johnson had a Morris 1100. And they decided that they would go in this economy run. And they asked me would I accompany them. And I said, well, what have I to do? Well, try and do something to get us to win the event. And I said, what is the event about? He says, it's about who can get the most mileage out of the car. You take them into the filling station, you fill them up, you're there and sent on a recognised tour for maybe an hour or an hour and a half, and you bring the car back again, and it's filled up then again, and then it's estimated how many miles per gallon you're getting. So they asked me to help. So I thought, the first thing I need is, I need a gallon can. So I'm in the back of the Morris 1100, and if you remember back to those vehicles, you could actually reach the tank filler in a Morris 1100 on the rear quarter panel. So during the event, when we got a quiet spot, I helped the car to a little extra fuel. And we came into the finish. And Harry was doing clerk of the course, or what I would call it, clerk of the fuel. So Harry looked at this, and I could see him shaking his head, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. And of course, the whole place was silent. And the winner is Mervyn Johnson and Austin Fraser, who achieved, and I don't know how to say this, they achieved something like 220 miles per gallon. And Harry said, I'd like to congratulate them. By the way, he says, was there anyone else in the car? And someone shouts up, CB was in it. And Harry immediately said, disqualified, disqualified.
He was a fabulous character, wasn't he?
He was a gem. Harry and I did the Circuit of Ireland in the Lotus Cortina. It seized the engine on the way to the start. So we decided we'd maybe go and enjoy ourselves anyway. So I had a Mini Cooper at the time, and we collected 2 friends of ours in Derry, and Harry, the 3 of us, the 4 of us, set off for Killarney. And we were heading down on the Saturday afternoon to the last stage. And I was driving, but I had a call. There were no mobile phones, and I'm sure you mature people here know what I mean when I said I got a call. I needed a movement. Nothing wrong with that, everybody does it. So I stopped the car and I made my way into a field. I got in behind a ditch. I had quite a few napkins with me, so it was okay. I got the business done, came back to the road, and the car was gone. There I was in the middle of Kerry, no car, so I had no choice only to walk. So I proceeds to walk, and I walk maybe 300 or 400 yards, and the stones started to fly out from a short ditch away, sods and stones. And I said to myself, the buggers are in behind that ditch. So of course I lifted some of the stones and I returned them. And this is a fact. Harry Johnson came running out with his 2 hands in the air. Stop, 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 you hit the car. We put a big dent in the roof of my Mini Cooper.
And that's, ladies and gentlemen, where Phil Coulter got the idea of his hit song, Bye Bye Baby Bye Bye.
He also plumb with the Bay City Rollers, he also got ACV.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you did. You wrote that. But you went with Phil Coulter that day. You hitched a ride with Phil. Were you the instructor, or what was the setup?
I was the co-driver on that day. And I said, listen, do exactly as I tell you, and you'll be okay. So he starts off in his blue 911 Porsche, and he's driving along, and I said, flat, come on, flat. But I couldn't get him to respond to my coaching. I'm not so sure he understood what the word flat meant, but I couldn't get him to go quick enough anyway. And we finished the rally. I don't know where we finished, Plum. We definitely didn't win it.
You finished quite well. I think you finished about 10th or something.
Well, if he did, it was pure luck, because he was a much better songwriter than he was a driver. Not that, mind you, we enticed him to Cork, and he finished 4th overall in the Cork International, but there was a 55% retirement in the rally.
He loves being reminded of that, doesn't he? He loves being reminded of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he likes the Cork Rally.
Right.
But it's wonderful to see all you people here. I used to be a fervent supporter of the Omagh Motor Club. I moved away then, and I recall some wonderful people who are here tonight, more in my age group than in you young people's age group. I'd like to say hello to everybody that I didn't already say hello to, and say how wonderful it is to see you all, Ken McDevitt, Willie John Dolan, all the Omagh crew, Hugo McDade, who's the chairman of the club, is a great friend of mine.
Stand up if your name's called.
Yeah, well, it will be difficult to go around everybody, but it's nice to see everybody here, and I'm delighted to be here and saying hello.
And it's particularly nice to see you, Cal, here.
Thank you.
And indeed, Mike Hart, Derek Smith, and of course Desi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, club.
Okay. A young gentleman from this part of the world has been doing extreme things in world rallying, and he can't be here with us tonight because he's probably somewhere between Paraguay, I think, and Chile, is it, at the moment? And that's Aaron Johnson. We always follow him with intrigue in the Toyota team with Takamoto Katsuta. I hope I got that right. And he sent us a little message. Let's roll it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hi everyone, Aaron here, and hello from Chile. Unfortunately, it wasn't possible for me to join you all tonight in the Birches to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Bushwhacker Rally, but I would just like to send this quick video message to congratulate everyone in the club throughout the years that has turned this event into such a massive success. It's a credit to be celebrating the 50th year now on the best gravel rally in Ireland, if not the UK. For me, I'm really looking forward to coming home on Tuesday, and maybe some of you already have seen, but my name's on the entry list on the wrong side, let's say, because I will take on the event as a driver in a little Toyota Starlet. I'm really looking forward to the experience and enjoying the 2 days, especially rallying in the dark. It's not so often you get to do that anymore. I'm looking forward to seeing as many of you as I can there next weekend and call into the service, say hello and have a quick chat. Thanks again everyone, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night with some good food, some drinks, and of course the company. I know the event will be a massive success and the ticket sales were incredible, so congratulations again to the club for organising this before the rally. Okay guys, have fun, and I will see you all next week. Cheers.
Aaron Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, somebody that we're very, very proud of. And of course, he very neatly introduces us to our co-drivers section. So I want to call to the stage Godfrey Crawford, who guided Ronnie McCartney to his 6th win in 1982. Godfrey Crawford, where are you? Up you come. Rory Kennedy, the incredible man, Robbie McGurk's navigator in 1992 on the Tyrone Drivers' 2nd Bushwhacker Rally. Sit there, Godfrey. And Tony Cairns, who is the Bushwhackers' most successful co-driver with an amazing 5 consecutive wins alongside Robbie McGurk. How could he not win with Robbie McGurk? In 1998, 99, 2000, 2002, and 2003. Well, what a trio. Godfrey's been at me all night. What are you going to ask me? He says. What are you going to ask me? I said, I'm not going to tell you, but I'm going to ask you now. Let's talk about 82 with Ronnie, when you won the event.
I suppose Ronnie became my hero in 1964 when he won the circuit. I was a 13-year-old schoolboy. I rode my bicycle down to Charlton's garage to see the Mini Cooper up on the 4 Castrol drums with a one underneath it collecting the oil. It was still running out of it. And I said then my ambition was to sit with Ronnie McCartney. And a few years later when I started navigating, he said to me, you keep doing it, and when you get good enough, I'll take you. Well, he took me anyhow, even though I wasn't good enough. So not only did I get to sit with my hero, but to sit with him in what I believe is the best forest rally in Ireland, Omagh Motor Club's event. It was the last time he won it, and as Derek Smith said, Ronnie was a unique talent. He just was such a skillful driver and such a pleasure to sit with, but you'd have needed to put a rope on him to get him back into the car to do every stage. But he was a real character and one of the greatest drivers ever came out of this country.
You must be very proud to be in the Bushwhacker Roll of Honour there. But of course, it wasn't your only Bushwhacker. You were with other people. Pat Barrett, for example, a very quick man, father of Paul Barrett, who we'll be meeting later on this evening. And, you know, quite a list of guys. Ken Irwin, Speedy, who's in the hall tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin O'Kane, Roy Alcorn, and of course Robbie, who will be meeting at length in a minute or two. But you weren't just a co-driver. You had an old dab behind the wheel yourself. You did the old handbrake turn and that.
I did try my hand at that, but I think it was safer for me to have a map in my knee than the steering wheel in my hand. So I concentrated on the navigating because my driving skills, I tried to emulate what the guys I sat with were doing, and I just didn't have the skill to do that, so stayed in the passenger seat.
And where did this love of video come from? How did that all come about?
By mistake, I think. I just got involved in it, and I made the video of about 8 or 9 bushwhackers. We did a lot of other rallies as well, and when Derek Graham and Gary Milligan asked me to put together the footage, I got involved with a friend of mine who did all the AI work on it, and it's amazing what he did. And I hope
What's
everybody enjoys
what's
it.
his name? Because that is amazing. I've never seen that before. It's
Peter,
absolutely
Peter Cummings is his name. He has absolutely no interest in cars or rallying. He's one of the lucky people in life. But he's an absolute genius when it comes to IT. And he deserves a lot of the credit for that tip.
Well, the two of you have broken new ground tonight in showing that video. It is truly an advance. I've never seen anything like it before. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, where do we start, Rory? You were invited here tonight because you were the 1992 Bushwhacker winner with Robbie in the Ford Orion. Remember it well?
I remember it very well. Plum, it was one of, I'd have to say, one of my most outstanding achievements in rallying. Robbie and me have been good friends for many, many years before that, and since that, obviously, but to come and do the Bushwhacker Rally in, well, what was the Sydney Meek Orion, and a rear-wheel drive car like that with Robbie was something to behold, really, on the day. I think we maybe led from start to finish as well, which was something. We weren't maybe fastest in every stage, but almost. And I've been coming to Bushwhacker Rally since that very first rally in 1975, I think, Joe, I think you said.
Yeah.
And James Cole and me came to that rally as nippers to watch that rally, and remember Ronnie and Desi winning that. And I've been coming to Bushwhacker for many, many years since that. And it's incredible to be here tonight with all the Omagh Motor Club royalty and the people who put in such an effort and put on such a show to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the rally. And I think that deserves a tremendous round of applause.
Well, Rory, you used the word royalty. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're sitting comfortably, because what I'm about to tell you is truly amazing. This man has been rallying for 46 years. He's competed in 381 events, and he's won 72 of them. Isn't that amazing? And the role of drivers, this is all-time great list. Bertie Fisher, Vincent Bonner, Mark Higgins, Gary Jennings, Niall McShay, Eamon and Donna Kelly, James Cullen, Stephen Finlay. They are amongst the best known of them. There are many, many more. Robbie McGurk, of course, yes, we've already mentioned him. But really, it's an outstanding career you had. I mean, can you not get a life?
Well, if there's ever a definition of a rally alcoholic, I think that's me. But I have to be very, very grateful to Plum. I've done quite a lot of rallies with some of the fastest drivers in the business, and I have to be very grateful that we're safe and generally survived them all. And no co-driver will win any rally without the driver, obviously. So delighted to have that accolade. Thank you.
But with all those achievements, I mean, what's the highlight? Let me point out a few of them. 4 Donegal International wins, taking home with you your dad's trophy, the Jim Kennedy trophy. That must have been an amazing highlight.
Oh, for sure, there's no denying that was an amazing achievement, and I was very lucky that came around because that trophy was only introduced in 2006, and I did the rally with Mark Higgins in 2006. We finished second. We did it in 2007 against Sebastian Loeb and finished second. So I thought my chances of winning that trophy were probably gone. But then along came Gary in 2015, and obviously went on to win the rally, and fantastic, and a great accolade to win that trophy, actually.
3 Circuit of Ireland wins with Bertie. Took a little while to get there, but you got it. And 4 if you count the Easter stages with Mark Higgins.
Yeah, that's for sure, Plum. A lot of rallies, and a lot of very good rallies, and some brilliant drivers down through the years. And even I did maybe not a lot of people know this, but I did the Bushwhacker Rally with Robin Lyons and Lotus Sunbeam one time. And unfortunately, I ended up in the shotgun Carrigaholton. So I've had the pleasure of being with many of the best drivers in the business.
And of course, 7 Killarney Rally of the Lakes, and I think 5 of them in succession or something with Bertie.
Yes, 5 in succession, and incredible achievement with an incredible driver. And Bertie was very fond of Killarney, and we won there in 1990. And once we got broken our duck, there was no stopping us really. And then I had the privilege as well to win with Stephen Finlay. Stephen and I won the Killarney Rally in 2000, I think it was. And another great Tyrone driver as well.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please, because the greatest of them all, 2 rally wins with Robbie McGurk. One here, the Bushwhacker, and one at the Carrick-on-Suir Forestry Rally in 2002. Good wee driver?
Well, I wouldn't say wee driver, but good big driver. Once you get him fitted into the cars, I'd say he's one of the most entertaining drivers you could get out there. And he's probably the easiest driver to co-drive for and all the drivers I've been with, because it's just an absolute joy to do a stage with him, because he said the pace notes are really only a bit of a guide, it don't really matter. So takes all the pressure off. So fantastic driver, and a real privilege to have co-driven for him.
Pace notes a bit beyond him.
No, I didn't slow him down anyway.
Right. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely thrilled to have you with us tonight. What a record, ladies and gentlemen. Royalty, is that not rally royalty? And we haven't finished with the talent yet, because here's another multi-talented man, Tony Cairns. Tony, you didn't only sit with Robbie McGurk, a record 5 times, and on 5 consecutive occasions, but you backed Robbie in your carton bakery business. How did that all come about?
That's correct, Plum. I suppose I know Robbie. I would say longer maybe than he thinks I know him. I had been friendly with a neighbour of his whenever I was sort of young fellas at school, you know. And I can remember Jared Hannigan. And I can remember Jared and myself whenever we were probably, 10, 11, 12. We used to go out to Jared's and sit in Jared's father's car, waiting on Robbie to come home for his tea. I think he was working down the Derry Road at the time. In a wee garage, and Jared used to be saying, "Mom, we'll go out and we'll sit here," because when Robbie comes home, he always goes up to the top of the BD Park and he handbrakes, you know. And I would know Robbie from then, but then I suppose just myself being involved in motorsport got the own thing, and I don't even honestly know how. I can't remember really how. I was sort of talked into sitting with him, you know, obviously not being a navigator. But it was, I think most drivers can't sit maybe with other drivers. It's difficult, you know. Whereas, and obviously I wouldn't myself either. But I mean, I knew Robbie was a good driver, and you know, we went for a couple of tests and one thing and another. But there's one thing I will say is most drivers would be probably afraid. Even on the stage, definitely on the stage. Now, of course, you'd be nervous, you'd be a wee bit sort of apprehensive going up to an event and so on and so forth. The biggest worry I would have had would be, you know, trying to read notes that somebody else had made and you're not allowed to recce and so on and so forth, and there's so much information in the notes. And then the rate that he was going at is shocking. But at no point ever in any stage on the 5 years that I would have sat with Robbie, was I ever, what you'd say, scared in the car? And I'm sure, well, I know Godfrey and Rory can, you know, they can say the same. Apart from once, and again, I wouldn't actually say it was fear. It wasn't fear. It's hard to explain. But we were sitting on the, funny, we spoke about this the other morning there, just with a coffee the other morning. We were speaking, we were laughing about this just. It was the Collider stage, the one that finishes down at the Tyrone-Donegal border, the one that finishes down the hill, and where it starts, I think it was the year we were in the World Car, but where it must have been the second time through that stage, and what happened was it was sort of 3, 2, 1, boom. Nothing happened. Robbie with the car stalled, and Robbie would, you know, generally be very cool, you know, and you know, Wesley Emerson might tell you different, but I don't know. But anyway, eventually the car started, And I think we're probably leading. I mean, Derek McGarty, you know, back in them days that we'd been racing most years. But as soon as I had pressed the stopwatch, you know, at the 3-2-1, you know, I pressed the stopwatch, car stalled, and as soon as we got going, I just said 11 seconds. But I knew with him being starting to get maybe just a wee ounce flustered, you know, he's not going to figure out in a millisecond, you know, fucking, was it 11 seconds or whatever, you know. So exactly 17 seconds. Now, the fact that if it was 17 seconds, if I had said that, I thought we were not definitely never going to come out of this stage. But anyway, we went through the stage and I never got a run ever. I mean, Robbie's quick in every stage, but I don't know if any of the guys on here would have times for that actual stage. But if you looked at Robbie's time on that stage, the fact that we were sitting in the start line for 17 seconds, and I can remember Gordon Noble saying to me, I think maybe in the service or a few days afterwards, or Gordy says, like he was standing in the middle watching, he says, you just thought it was McRae coming, you know. I mean, the noise from the, you know, the opposite lock from one side to the other was just thump, thump, thump. And that wasn't happening on the other stage because, as you know, Rory, yourself and Godfrey, Rob is very smooth, very clean driver and nice lines and so on and so forth, you know. But that is a good memory now. Well, definitely hats off to him.
Of course, you were no slouch yourself. You drove Metro 604s, you drove Manta 400s, and of course, you won the Irish Group N Championship in
that's
1997.
Correct, yeah.
Great achievement.
That's probably the last time I was speaking to you, Plum, in Milford Mart.
That's probably
you know,
that's right.
So, and it was Gordon that was on with me that year. Robbie run the car, and Wesley would have been on the crew as well. You know, so it's good times. Yeah.
Great times and great achievements, gentlemen. What a privilege it is to have the three of you with us tonight. Thank you very much indeed for coming.
Thanks, Paul.
Now it's time to have a word from the boss, the clerk of the course, Lewis Boyd, who's going to talk about the organisers. There he is, the men that do all the work.
Well, folks, what a celebration so far. What a room full of stars. We look around, and I'm glad that we're referred to the young folks. I don't feel very young. But probably when you look at everybody else around here, there's a lot of young folks in this room who are now involved in the motorsport. Well, my name is Lewis Boyd, as Alan has already said. I'm the current COC. Honoured to be the COC of this prestigious McKelvey Construction Bushwhacker Rally, also known as the Whacker for many of you. There are a few people in this room who just need mention, but before I do that, most of you haven't a clue. Most of you competitors haven't a clue how this rally is put together, and you probably don't care and don't need to care an awful lot. When I got involved in rallying as a spectator, and then as a competitor, and then as a volunteer, it was a case of prepare on Friday, race on Saturday, and forget about it the next week, basically. Now, the paperwork consisted at that stage just of a road book and a time card, put together a few weeks before the event. We applied for a permit from the Forestry Service, arranged for about 20 marshals to make an appearance, and we ran the rally. This has evolved into an 8-month marathon, with multiple layers of safety information required, approval from 2 different councils, Water Service, Forestry Service. Then the setup takes about 10 days now, not just 1 day, and we have to get about 120 marshals out onto the stages to meet the approval of an independent Motorsport UK safety delegate. So things have changed. Rally control used to be the front seat of a moving jeep racing around the stages, trying to organise and keep the thing going. Now we have a big room full of computers and controls and maybe a little bit of AI taking place in there as well. And then a number of officials in there trying to keep the rally running to time and also running safely. But we're blessed, and we really are blessed with a fantastic group of people in the club who make this all happen. This is not a one-man job or two-man job. There's a whole team, a whole raft of people within our club who are essential. You'll see us all running around with these t-shirts. We're not the people who are going to provide you with drinks and entertainment tonight. This is just us in our garb for tonight. Derek, Ronnie and myself, Ronnie McAleer, over on this table here, normally put the plan together sitting at my kitchen table to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, night after night for quite a little bit of while drinking about 6 or 7 cups of tea every night. Ronnie makes the tea and it's as black as your boots. He likes it really strong. Then we have Aidan and Pete and Davy and Matthew and Tommy and Richard and Aidan, Eamon, Niall, Ryan, all out in the stages putting these things together over about 10 days before you actually physically go rallying. Then we have Barry Arundel in here somewhere, I hope, who gathers up all the marshals and promises them then the sun, the moon and the stars, just so that they will turn up on the day, and we're blessed to have that as well. And Barry O'Neill somewhere in there as well, looking after all of your press stuff. I mean, this is a big team exercise. The rest of us just throw our shoulders to the wheel and help out wherever we can. And personally for me, it's an honour to be a member of this club and to see it all happen. We are, as I say, privileged to have that. But with all the good things, and we have many good things, there's also a little bit of pain in that, and many of you will have suffered that. And we said farewell to a dear friend and a stalwart of our club this year, Mr. Pat McAleer. The McAleer family are well known and respected throughout Ireland, and we are privileged to work alongside them in this club. And Pat will be greatly missed by us all, and he is missed this event, but he's also missed this evening, and many of you will know that. We want to acknowledge and thank our past Bushwhacker COCs, who include Stephen Kilpatrick, Gary Milligan, Gordon Noble, Declan McAleer, Ronnie McAleer and Louise Hannon, and the thousands of marshals over the years and the stage commanders who look after the stages. The many timekeepers that you will have seen and probably gurned at whenever you're going round. Maybe tried to coerce, I know Gordon Noble will try and coerce him with every opportunity to get the best time he can. And the radio operators that we have as well. This club, and we've already seen it, was instrumental in launching the career of our world champion navigator, Aaron Johnson, who has never really forgot his roots ever. And he's returning next weekend, as he already said, to drive in his first Bushwhacker Rally. So it'll be good to see him do that. And then we have a few men who just stand a little bit taller in our club. And over here we have Hugo McDade, Patsy Baxter. And we're going to include Pat McAleer in that as well. These are the people who did it all before. And they're the ones who have motivated us to do now what we do. And then we have a few more special people in our club. Gary Milligan, already been mentioned, he's a competitor, a COC, a past chairman in our club, and a fantastic encourager to those of us who do the stuff we do. And there's Derek Graham, you'll see him floating about there, a competitor as well. COC for our events in the past, chairman of our club, safety officer, and sometimes, most times, an annoying pain to me. Margaret McCain, a secretary who's been there for quite a while, a timekeeper and a chairperson. And I'm going to mention this man again, Hugo McDade. Scrutineer for 45 years, probably the first person that I came into contact with in the Motor Club, and our club president and a legend to us in the club. And we're delighted that Hugo was here. And then Patrick Frail. Yeah. And because of that round of applause, Patrick Frail is going to get talked about twice. Patrick Frail, who's been our treasurer for 49 years and has managed to keep us afloat through the good times and the bad times. And we're honoured to have him here as well. And finally, to our sponsors. And sitting down in front of me, I'm going to mention two men. First of all, W.J. Dolan. Wow. Who helped make the Bushwhacker into what it is today. For many years supporting us in the early days of this rally. And lately, McKelvey Construction, Robert and Darren McKelvey sitting down here in the middle, who have faithfully supported us over the past 15 years. And I think that deserves a round of applause as well. And not that I want to break news, but Darren just told me he'd do it for the next 15 years as well, so that's brilliant there, earlier on. Robert, you don't know that yet, that might change maybe, so it might. So folks, thank you, and like me, I hope that you will acknowledge that this little club in the west of Northern Ireland is able to deliver an exceptional rally that matches the talent of all of those who have taken part and will take part in the next 7 days. And together and collectively, we will continue to make this event special for the next 50 years. Thank you very much.
Lewis Boyd, ladies and gentlemen, outlining the people past and present who do all the work and get very little of the credit, but who, without them, we wouldn't have a sport. It's as simple as that. Give them another round of applause. Okay, we've got two more guests to meet before you get a little comfort break, and they're very important people. Nowadays, we don't get the great endurance rallies like we used to do. The 5-day Circuit of Ireland Rally, and Donald Grieve here, clock of the course on those amazing years on the table there, just two down, and the RAC Rally. Long events, usually in the RAC, particularly in the winter, and very demanding conditions. But of course, nowadays, you can kind of relive those events, or those type of events, with the Roger Albert Clock, which is coming up in November again. And I want you now to meet two people who know all about that adventure. Paul Barrett, who led the event in 2021, only to crash out on the very last morning, unfortunately, and that's the 5th day, I think it is. Paul Barrett, ladies and gentlemen. And Gordon Noble, who had to share that misery with him on the same event. And he's no stranger to us. Right, Paul. You're one of the mad Mark II men, aren't you?
I don't know how to answer that, but the room full of them here, like, at the same time, but, well, you like to try your best when you're out there.
Yeah, and of course, it's in your blood. I mean, your dad rallied, and this rallying is in the Barrett blood, isn't it?
Oh, well, racing's in our blood, like, between bikes. We started really out in bikes. Dad wasn't there rallying, but we went to bikes then. And obviously went to rallying after that, like, but no, definitely it's in the blood, like, I suppose it's competition and it's racing, that's how I always looked at it, you know, but no, it's enjoyable. Daddy enjoyed the rallying, and like say Hugh McDade, that was all big friends with my father and that, and so it was always great camaraderie through the whole sport, you know, so it's good to see it.
Well, give us an idea what it's like to do this Roger Albert Clock event as a driver.
It's actually unbelievable, like, you know, be honest with you, this past few years, like, me and Gordy got so close, and that's racing, and things happen, but it's nice to be at the pinnacle and try your best at, like, even like a local driver like Johan McCord last year, like, Johan had a great result, you know, so I suppose this year we're going to try and give it a go again before we get too old, but let's like Sir Gordon and be there, and the atmosphere is unbelievable. People doesn't appreciate it, but it's for like myself, and Gordon, a class event.
Why are we so good at it? Why are the Irish so good at it? Look, Mark McCormick, 4-time winner. That's amazing.
Probably because we're fucking stone mad.
Is it the Mark II thing, the whole religion of Mark II escorts, and the whole sort of tribe of people that have built up over the years, and the absolute, pardon the French, shit-hot competition in Mark IIs?
Well, like Sir Hugh O'Brien will soon tell you that, but how could you answer that, Gordy?
I don't know if it's just Mark IIs, but it's a passion for rallying them, and people think Mark II has been the car to have for 50 years, if you take a lot of the other things out of it. So the car itself, it works well, it's relatively simple, I would suppose. It's easy to keep the thing going, it makes noise, it's fun, so that's what the attraction is, really.
So Paul, what preparation goes into the car now for this?
Well, this year now, we probably went to a different angle a few years there, and it didn't work out for me, so we basically took it back to Tarisala, and this lad's done a lot of work in the car for me, so I think we were dialed in rightly now at the minute, so this year we're going to give it a shot, and we're going to run it from home, and Gordy's going to give it as good a shot as we can this year, so listen, probably cut the costs and give it a go.
Well, it doesn't have to be the hottest escort in the world, does it? Just a
Oh,
very,
it has
very
to be-
reliable
no,
one.
No. It
Has to be.
It has to be, yeah. No,
Yeah.
it has to be.
Yeah. So what sort of brake horse are you talking about?
They're all averaging 260 to 265 brake horsepower. Like it really, they're not any difference. I suppose the setup, they're all basically on same suspension, same everything. So it's down to the workability of everybody around you and the effort and the amount of effort you put into it and the arrangement for it. So if you put the work into it, hopefully it'll come out on the far side.
Well, I'm going to move on to your co-driver now because we used the word royalty before when we spoke to Rory. But this guy's amazing too. The Omagh Motor Club is in your DNA, isn't it, Gordon?
It is. Plum. I left college and went back here to Omagh, whatever year it was, and joined the club. Same night as Gary Milligan did, as far as I believe. So this has been part of my blood for being here for the last 35 years or something like that. Yeah. And I suppose if you're into any sports, whether it be rallying or golf or football or whatever else, and you have a passion for it and you keep coming back to it, this is my home club, and you like to support it and make the events here as good as you can. You know.
And you've certainly put your time in at this club because 8 times clerk of the course, and then with Gary too, with Gary Milligan, joint clerk of the course. I mean, that's some dedication.
I suppose there was a period of about 15 years. I suppose I was very heavily involved in the club running the Bushwhacker as clerk of the course. But throughout those years, we were also running navigation rallies as well, and we ran the 5 Mile Town Rally. And a number of other events. So it's not just one rally. It's certainly the Bushwhacker is the pinnacle of the year, but motor clubs like this run quite a number of events, and it does become part of your life. You know, the motor club meetings and then the social events and doing all of the other work that's happening within it.
Some training ground too. You know, it could be a clerk of the course's training school almost because. You went on to run Rally Ireland, and many other clerks, of course, have run Ulster and other events.
I think it is. When you come into a club like this where there's a very good core of people who are running the rally, and you can learn from them, and you can live off the good, positive things that people are doing. And people like myself, Seamus McCanny and Gary and Lewis and so on, who went on to other events of a sort of a slightly higher status and things, to be able to take that knowledge that we've gained here, take it forward to those bigger rallies as well. So, yes, as you say, it's a very good training ground, yeah.
Now I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to read off a few more statistics here. You've been rallying for 38 years. You've won 15 events. And look at the drivers that you've sat with. Robin Lyons, Trevor Cathers, Tony Cairns, Mark Fisher, Chris Meek, Rory Galligan, somebody that we'll never forget what a talent he was, Gary Jennings, Niall McShay, I'm not finished yet, Kevin Lynch, Alistair McRae, and Alistair Fisher, of course. Amazing amount of people. But that's not all. Wait till you hear, ladies and gentlemen, where this man has rallied. He's rallied in 23 different countries. Kenya, South America, the Arctic, San Remo, France, Germany, Belgium, Poland, Portugal, Finland, Italy, Argentina, China, New Zealand, the Americas, Mexico, Greece, Spain, Ireland, Wales, England, Scotland, and Lurgan Park.
Cleater too.
What?
Cleater.
Yes,
as well. Plum, I've never actually sat down and went through a list like that. When you hear that, it sounds pretty good. But you know, I've been privileged in this sport to be able to go and do that, and being able to travel to go to these different countries. And the beautiful thing about travelling, isn't it? You get to those from a sort of rallying perspective. As you're going to the real country, you're not going to some holiday resort and sitting in the hotel. You see the proper country and see the wildlife and see the people and how people live, and it makes you realise that we are privileged to do it. I must, you know, and we're lucky to go and spend plenty of money in countries which are not really privileged to do that.
And how about the home life? How did you square that?
I'll work hard at it. Is that the way to put it?
You've put so much into rallying, the two of you. And again, Another two incredible guests here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for a little break now. You'll be glad to hear. You can stretch your legs. But thank you very much for coming on stage this evening, guys. Thank you. Well, if ever we needed a reminder of just how brilliant Robbie McGurk has been and is, that was it, folks. Isn't it incredible? Right, we've got two more lineups to bring you before the evening's out. And the first one are the multiple winners. And these are some of the real stars of the last 50 years. Can I call to the stage Martin Cairns, 2 times winner? Martin, where are you? Is Martin with us? Here he is, yes. Up you come. We've got Hugh O'Brien, of course, one of the real characters of the event. Up you come, Hugh. And the king of the bushwhacker, there's no other way to describe him, Robbie McGurk, ladies and gentlemen. What we've got, we've got 10, 4, 6. What a lineup. Where do we start? We start with you, Martin. 2010 in a Subaru, 2014 in a Subaru S14. They were a bit of an unusual machine.
They were. There was only maybe 7 of them made in the world, and we were very lucky to have one. So, great car.
Were these Kenny McKinstry cars?
Well, I owned it, but Kenny ran it for me.
Right,
so.
Yeah. Well, I should start by saying... that Kenny should have been with us tonight. But unfortunately, I don't know if you've heard, but his brother Sam is very ill. And so he wasn't able to come. So I'm sure everybody here wishes the McKinstry family the very best in the next couple of days. And we'll be keeping our fingers crossed for Sam. What a character, what an essential part of the whole rallying scene. Thank you. Okay. Right, Martin, you've been passionate about this event for quite a number of years.
I've probably done it maybe 33 times, so
Good
quite
Lord.
a lot.
Yeah.
Know it quite well.
And what did you sort of climb up through the classes and through the machinery?
Well, I think the first time I done it, I come almost last. Remember a lifelong friend of mine's, Patsy Baxter, waited until I finished the last stage and we were nearly the last car, and it's probably 33 years ago and it feels like 5 years ago. Time has flew.
Right. They always say you made a better class of people at the back of the field.
Well, so they say.
But you eventually came to buying the Subarus. And I mean, they were fabulous. Those machines were the four-wheel drive in the forest. It must be some thrill.
They were really unbelievable. Like, they were so advanced compared to even the cars nowadays. And we were very fortunate to have them. The best Subarus you can get, and we had some good runs. We finished second here so many times, and third so many times, and we won it twice. We probably should have won it 4 times. We had 2 big battles with Derry McGarty in 12 and 13. 2012 and 2013, and I think that he beat us by 2 seconds, then he ended up beating us by 6 seconds. We led the rally on both occasions, but he still beat us at the end.
Now, of course, we've moved on to the R5 era now, and nobody better to tell us about it than you, because you're still rallying an R5 and very successfully.
Yeah, well, the R5 is very good. I don't think I adapted too well to the R5. I'm probably too old. They're more of a corner speed, where the Subarus had a lot of torque and they were quite fast. But and I think it was 2017. I got Rory Kennedy in to do 2 rallies with me, and I was disappointed he didn't mention it tonight. So we went to do the Lecknan Rally and a Fiesta WRC, and we finished, I think, 5th. And we then went to do the Bushwhacker, and I thought, I've got the best navigator, so they say anyway, in Ireland. So we decided, we started, first stage was Carrigaholton. It was almost a mile. There was just very, very fast corners, and then you come to a square left. So Rory and I took off, and I thought I'll try and go for the one. So the first real bad corner, we slid off the road. So we were the first person to go off the road that day.
Right.
So,
but
Rory was no good. Called the note too late.
It's a funny he left you out. He's done so few events, you know.
Yeah, well, I think that's why he didn't mention it tonight. He knew he was late, so I'm only joking. He wasn't late.
Yeah, the little R5s. I mean, it's a different rally, isn't it? It's sort of very late braking, quick turn in. It's a whole new game, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The R5. I had the Subaru WRCs, then the Fiesta WRCs, and I went to the Fiesta R5, and I have to say that it's as good a car as a WRC, so they're very advanced.
Yeah.
You know, but
they're certainly as quick now.
I would say they're almost as quick, especially on 34mm restricted. They're definitely as fast as the WRC car.
Right.
And they handle much better. They're much easier to drive. They're not as aggressive, but they're quite a good car.
So how long are you going to keep up this game?
As long as my wife lets me spend the money.
She's done pretty well up to now.
Well, to be fair to Claire, I haven't missed a year in 25 years, and she's been a massive supporter, and she wants me to do it. So, as long as I'm fit and able, and can
How'd you get one of those?
They're very rare.
Hugh, we're moving on here. 1980, RS 1800, 1983, an Escort, 1984, an Escort, and 1987, an Escort. Always Escorts, Hugh, and always with those big balls on the bonnet.
Yeah. Well, they were mainly on the bonnet anyway. But the Escort was the only machine that we had access to and that we had money to run or whatever. There wasn't a pile of that either. But no, I must say, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I always had the car, but I didn't always have it really match fit because it depended on the budget. The first car that I had, I sent it up to Sydney, and I said, I want to spend £300 on Sydney. When you have that spent, you can come back to me. And he said, what do you want to do, boy? I said, I want to beat McCartney. Do you, boy? I said, I do. I don't want to beat him once. I want to beat him every time he puts out his nose. And so that was the arrangement. Ronnie was always the man to beat in my age, you know. But I must say we had great crack out of the whole thing. And to get back to maybe to CB, we were glad to hear that CB wasn't going to be driving the Porsche and first Bushwhacker, but he had a flair for navigating for famous people. And when Sidney Meek built the Orion, Barry McGuigan decided that he was going to do the rally, and CB was sitting him, and it was actually the Enniskillen rally, and Austin was starting the course, so Austin let him run first on the road, and then we were behind him. So when it came to the first stage with Belmore, was 4 mile, and when they headed off, then I came up to the marshal and said, we need 2 minutes here. And after a bit of persuasion, anyway, he let us go 2 minutes behind. And then we got to the clock, and the two boys were at it, and CB came out, and he said, what did you finish on? I said, we finished on the minute dead. And CB said, well, we were 56. He said, that's not too bad for a man first time out, 5:56. I said to him, CB, we did 4 dead. He said, you wouldn't last long in the ring of Marvin Hagler over you, would you? He was never bait for an answer.
I was thinking there, £300 with Sidney Meek, that wouldn't get you caps on your tire valves.
I said to Gary that used to work with him, what did you do, Gary? He said, we took the wood bolts out of her and we straightened the drivetrain. We put the axle, engine and gearbox in the one line. So that was the preparation.
Well, those 4 wins, which one sort of stands out? Which one do you remember the most?
Probably the one that I did with John McMacken. John was always called to my house, and he was always there for the preparation. In fact, Bertie christened him the Ghost because he said every time anything happens, he appears out of nowhere. so I had I'd organised so he said he would sit in that day. It was a particularly wet day, so I must say it was great to win it with John on board, you know.
You were known for your smooth driving and your wonderful sort of calm approach, as we see in this little bit of video that we've actually dug out from 1992. You're not the first car, but you're the second one. Oh dear me, that was a big one.
Oh dear me, it was a big one there. It's finished up a bit second. We would know these forests would obviously fairly well. And that particular band we would always been considered flat out. But that day we discovered afterwards, I kept saying to the boys, this car's not going well. It feels like a car with a trailer on it. But we couldn't get in, we didn't discover what was wrong. After that, we discovered that there was a tooth out in the valve timing, which it left it several horsepower down, and it wasn't able to pull me out of the shop. That's basically what happened, you know. It wasn't really my fault.
Well,
most of us, when we start off, we have a notion about being works drivers. Robbie would be involved in works teams and stuff like that. I never really had the chance, but when the mud notes came in, the year that Jimmy McCready did the Ulster with the Metro 6 or 4, Billy Coleman was meant to do the mud notes, but it was a very bad wet year, so Billy decided he would cut barley instead. And he said to Ronan Morgan, try O'Brien, because you're not doing the rally. He'll do the mud notes for you. So, but I'd say maybe lunchtime, the day before the rally, I get a phone call from Ronan Morgan, can you come? I said, oh, geez, I'm working, you know, I'll have to get somebody to do it, locum and stuff like that. But I said, oh, sure, well, I'll go for the crack. He said, right, you have to be in the Silver Birch Hotel for 8 o'clock this evening. So I got there at 10 o'clock. And they were going to have this big meeting. But McCrae was going to bed in Grindrod. I'd never met the man. I didn't know what he wanted. But we had to leave at 4 o'clock before he got up. And then there was a fella there from Leyland, and he said, will you take Jimmy's practice car? And I said to him, you know, we're going to go on open roads. You know, there might be cowboys about. What happens if I wreck this car? Oh, don't worry, mate. He said, we'll get you another one. So I said, yes, that's work stuff's great. So we went out then, and we had to do the 4 stages before we got talking to McCrae. So we came back in about 8 o'clock in the morning, and in the first service. So I said to him, Jimmy, I did these notes as if I were going out in your car to win the rally. You know, so if you can see it, you drive it yourself. But all the blind bits, if the line's clean, I've taken the mud out. But you know, you need to be careful the first lot of stages. If you come walking into some boy's milking parlour, don't blame me. To finish the story off then, there was a halt here in Omagh, and the first stage out was Glenhordle. And I don't know if any of you know that Glenhordle stage, but before Mervyn Kennedy's Lane, there's 3 flat crests. And over the last crest, the gravel was washed out of Mervyn's Lane on the braking area. So I double cautioned the last crest on Jimmy's notes. We got to Cookstown, and he came over and he said to me, your job is done. He says, Llewellyn went off, we had the double caution. We're 3 minutes in front.
Right. you're all actually, and this is quite an announcement here, because all three of these gentlemen are going to be out on the stages next weekend. Yes, because a very special arrangement has been made. Martin, you're out in your own car in the Fiesta again.
I'm going on a Polo next weekend.
Put the mic.
I'm going to Polo next weekend.
Oh, Polo.
I bought a new car, so.
Oh, very good, very good. And you were sixth last year. Can you improve on that?
Well, depends on Jason Mitchell. Hopefully I beat him. That's all. I don't care where I finish as long as I beat him.
Right.
And on his record, the minute he'd be easy beat.
Well, the shock news is that Hugh O'Brien is going to be out running as 00 in an Escort BDA. And that's great news. How do you feel about it?
No, I'm delighted. It belongs to a nephew of mine, but we'll just give it a bit of a sing and see what happens.
It's a borrowed car, I take it.
Yeah, bored horses, hard hooves.
It takes a vet to know that. Robbie, the other news, of course, is you're going to be out in the Manta 400.
Well, apparently, yeah. Davy Greer has kindly loaned me his car to go with this slowly sideways.
Very good, yeah. So that's a special treat for the 50th anniversary. Two of the legends of the rally are going to go out to entertain us as a 00. So that's really something to look forward to. Robbie, where do we start? It started in an Opel Manta in 1991. Your first win?
Yeah, I think that's right, Plum. But first of all, before we start blowing smoke around Robbie, this is not really about me. This is about Omagh Motor Club and the achievement that they've had with 50 years of this event. The rest of it are just there for the crack. But yes, the first one.
But having said that, you've probably produced the majority of the crack over the last number of years. You were a mechanic and you got a chance to go rallying. How did that come about?
Just being there and avail myself for free a lot of the time back in the early days, and just get in the know and get in the action and go and help people out, and eventually get more experience, and I was able to make a career of it. So it's not all sunshine. It's hard work, but it's better than working for a living.
And a great variety of cars. The Ford Orion, probably the most unusual one in many ways, but that was a McKinstry car, wasn't it?
That car, Sydney built the car, and when I drove it, it belonged to Tom Spence. And Stephen Emerson, Tony Cairns, Tom Spence, I think we borrowed cars from all those guys, and the rest we've rented them from Kenny. But the Orion, yes, was a special car. Good, just like a big Manta, really. Same floor pan and same suspension stuff. Yeah.
And it was virtually always the Bushwhacker you did. Did you do many others?
Tried a few here and there, but just never had the funds to do it the way we wanted to do it. And with work and whatever, we just tried to do one or maybe two a year. We've done the Lakelands a few times. One or two here and there.
Yeah, but they say in this game it's all about driving skill, obviously, but it's also about seat time. You didn't get much seat time. You sort of had to wait 12 months before you got the next opportunity.
Yeah, bit of a run up somewhere on a Friday night before the rally, and that was it. Just get the seat set and try the brakes. The way we went.
But you done Carrick-on-Shure and Willie John Doan's car.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
And Dominic McNeil was the man to beat then. No one could beat him in the forest down there, and you beat him that day.
Well,
he was there in the WRC Escort ex-bowling car.
Yeah, well, Willie John, I think Willie's here tonight, did he?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, we borrowed his car as well.
And then done the Toshiba and let it, and the wheel come off a McKinstry car.
Yeah, that's nobody's fault really. It's one of those things.
We weren't watching you, like.
But we went back the following year and won it.
So. But when you were, going back every year, once every 12 months, was not huge pressure?
Not really, Plum. It's just a bit of crack for us. We didn't really do pressure. We just went for the fun, and there was a bit of pressure, maybe not damaging the guy's car, Davey.
Gabriel Snow's car.
That was sorry.
You got Gabriel Snow's car and rolled it in the Bushwhacker.
Yeah, well, that was.
You forget all this, Robert?
No, that's.
But he's glad you came tonight to remind him of all this.
I've been on my roof quite a few times.
Of course, you co-drive too on the Bushwhacker there with Ronnie.
1981. It was just the experience was just unbelievable. I had been involved with Ronnie and Desi and going to rallies and stuff, and Ronnie announced one day you'll do the Bushwhacker with me, and I couldn't have read the newspaper. There was no pace notes, just the road book, but away I went, and it's one of those experiences just will stay with you for the rest of your days. It's just, the guy was amazing what he could do in a rally car, Sunbeam, and we won the rally. Fantastic.
Was that a really learning lesson? You thought, if this guy can do that, I could do it.
Well, I wouldn't just say it was that handy, but yeah, it was just the style of driving and the slides and car control was just second to none. Brilliant, fantastic.
We've seen your speed. You've proved your speed. Is there at this stage of your life, is there a frustration that you never got to really do a lot of more driving?
Not really, Plum. No, any rallying or any driving we done, we enjoyed it, and we had some good success and a whole lot of bad days too. But no regrets. We would do it all over again, probably the same way. And sure, listen, it's all a bit crack.
And of course, the preparation and the learning curve with Sydney Meek, you couldn't have got much better than that.
Well, it's like Obi was saying there. He left his car up with Sydney and told him to spend £300 on it. He left a gearbox with me a fortnight ago, and I told him, when I get to $5,000, I'll ring you. I'll stop and then I'll ring you to see what we want to do. Yeah, the preparation. Well, I mean, that's the route I chose in life, and it's better than working in a normal garage 9 to 5. It's different.
Especially when you're a genius.
There's longer hours.
Yeah. Well, you're gentlemen, you're absolute legends, and it's been fabulous having you here tonight. We couldn't have done this program without these guys, because this is the Bushwhacker, and 50 years on, you've won so many events, you're still competing, you'll be out again next weekend. For Ernest, these two are just arsing about, really, But we wish you all the best next weekend.
And just to finish that off, we'd better thank the wife for all this too. So
just copy me.
That's a good call, Robert.
That's brownie points.
Okay.
Sorry, on behalf of Omagh Motor Club, I'd like to thank Plum for the job he's done here tonight. He's kept the whole thing going, and he did a great job. Give him a round of applause.
You're good guests, you can't go wrong. Right, we've got another little a preview video of the 2023 event and the 2021 in-car to show you. And then we're going to meet the modern men for our final panel tonight. Okay, let her roll. The silence will soon be broken by the sound of R5s and the shriek of BDAs as they echo off the banks and through the early morning dew in the Tyrone forests. You will be carring to avoid the stone showers from the sliding and gaily graphic projectiles as they struggle for grip in nature's wonderland. The big names with big balls will be wrestling with the wheels and dancing on the pedals in their efforts to overcome the dips, ride the crests and avoid the drops as they carve ruts in the forest floor. This is forestry rallying. This is the Omagh Motor Club's Gravel Grand Prix. This is the Bushwhacker. Killeator, Lochbragan and Carrick-a-Holden are stages with history. stages that hold secrets, hiding tales of many air racing adventures. They are stages that make or destroy reputations, and stages that draw the fans into their depths to worship the legends of the Luce. Last year's epic blockbuster was decided by a last-minute shootout, and now the Bushwhacker is back. Back with a vengeance, and a mission to take the Omagh Motor Club's 2023 McKelvey Asbestos Removal Bushwhacker Rally to a new level. The stakes and the mileage have been raised, and the battleground will now stretch over 85 stage kilometres. More distance for the crews and more potential misadventure as they race to claim their gravel bragging rights. Headquarters, scrutiny, park fermy and service are all centralised in one location. And there's more, as this Gravel Grand Prix has an extra ingredient in 2023. This autumn's McKelvey Asbestos Removal Bushwhacker Rally will start with flashing lights as the cars penetrate the darkness on the two opening stages, ending a 21-year absence of night rallying in the Tyrone forests. So polish up the lenses, dust off the lamp pods and double check the electrics in preparation for these high-speed illuminations. It truly is the Gravel Grand Prix in Ireland. What a fantastic footage we saw there. We're going one more set of people to meet. We're calling them the Modern Men, but I should say really it's Kevin O'Brien and the Modern Men. Because first of all up, can we have Kevin O'Brien, the father of the amazing O'Brien family, who co-drove with Robbie McGurk in the 1993 Opel Manta 400. Kevin O'Brien. And Stephen O'Brien, Patrick's elder brother and 4 times Bushwhacker winner, Stephen O'Brien, co-driver. And last but very much not least, Patrick O'Brien, the winner for the last 4 years, the winner in the Lakeland stages for the last 3 years. Here he is, Stephen O'Brien, flown in all the way from Australia. Right, what a trio. Lovely to have you here. We have to start with Kevin. That was a few years ago now, 1993 in the Manta 400. What do you remember about that?
My memories out there was Robbie sent to me after scrutineering, we'll go for a wee run on the car here. And I didn't know where we were going. We ended up on a lane up near where Seamus Leonard has his house, actually. I didn't know the lane, I'd never been on it. Robbie knew it, and we took off. It was probably about dusk at the stage, and we got stopped in, and Robbie took off, and I got to the end of the lane, and I thought, what have I let myself in for tomorrow morning? But anyway, we got to the first stage, which was the short Loch Bratton, and we got down to the square right where you go up the hill. There was cones around it there now. And I thought to myself, this is going to be some fun. And that's exactly what it was. So from the night before, literally being scared, and then to the next morning, 2 or 3 corners into the rally, and I thought, this is going to be some fun. And funny, I sat with Ronnie McCartney the year after it, and the likeness to Robbie driving and Ronnie driving was pretty much identical, the way they set the car up and the way they done everything in the car. And I think Robbie made it tell people that it was Ronnie McCartney who taught him how to drive. You could see that in him then, like. Brilliant driver.
How did you get the rallying bug? Because you've obviously you've loved it and you passed it on to your children.
Sorry?
How did you get the rallying bug? How did you get interested?
My family weren't really involved in it. I just got the bug myself. I went to watch the Bushwhacker when I was just a teenager. And ever since that, I always had that love for rallying and got involved in it, and then got involved co-driving with different drivers. And then that just moved on till I got enough experience to sit with Robbie and different drivers. Tony Cairn sat with Tony for a long time. And once you get the bug for rallying, it never leaves you, like, so it doesn't.
Do you ever get a grow to try and do it yourself and behind the wheel?
No, I done a bit, but I wasn't good enough, so I quickly thought, no, forget about that. And then when you have these boys come along, people still ask me, would you ever go back and do a bit of rallying? And I think, no, it was a waste of time, so just let the young boys at it.
He was sore in the roof skin, so he was.
Yeah, Glengarno one night up in that Gorton stage, we put it on a roof. But we got it going again and finished it all the next day.
Right. So, Kevin, you won with Robbie. Was that the ex-McRae, Jimmy McRae Manta?
Ex-Jimmy McRae Manta, yeah, it was, yeah.
Very famous car.
Yeah, brilliant car for Tony. Me and Tony done a lot of rallies in that car, and I think we only failed to finish 2 rallies, I think, and we might have done, I don't know, 20, 30 rallies in it. Yeah, very reliable car.
Right, Stephen, you not only enjoy the rallying and co-driving, but you work in the business.
Yeah, I work for Euro M Sport, so we're deeply entrenched in all forms of motorsport, never mind rallying.
Is that in Poland or in Canada?
No, it's a motorsport sales company in Greencastle, so not too far out the road. We supply a lot of fuel.
All right, you're local then, yeah.
Yeah, local. Yeah.
Because that's screwed my next 3 questions. Because I was going to ask you how well the Irish guys are doing in the Europe, what I thought was Eurosport for M Sport. But anyway, great association. You've had a great associate with the Bushwhacker, and you've had 4 wins now in a row. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive until Robbie gets up and it's 8, and it looks not as impressive then. But yeah, nice to win it once.
He's been at it a lot longer.
Yeah, I suppose he has. Yeah, indeed. No, nice to win the rally once. Nice to win it 4 times. Hopefully, can make it 5.
Do you have to change the notes much, or do you know the stages now?
Just small tweaks every year, I suppose. With maybe lorries been in, the roads get maybe a little bit wider every year, or a corner changes. So small things, nothing too major.
And obviously incredible trust with your brother.
Yeah, maybe he's more trust in me if I tell him it's flat out, and he takes it that way. If I make a mistake, it's probably a bigger problem.
Does he call wrong notes, Patrick?
The odd time he slips up.
Now, you've come to the fore, particularly in this rally and the Lakelands. I take it you're living in Australia, yeah?
Yeah, I live in Australia now with my brother Francie and my partner Nicola and his girlfriend Lauren there. So yeah, it's a real sort of family thing over there now.
So it's an annual trip home for the two rallies, is it?
Yeah, it just works out that the time to be home there's two rallies on, so why not?
Right, and you keep the car here, do you?
Yeah, Dad looks after the car all the time, so yeah, I just turn up and do the driving.
Same car last 4 years?
No, the first year was a Ford Fiesta, and the last 3 times, yeah, it's been the Skoda, same car.
Right, yeah, and the same car this weekend?
Yeah, same car again, so hard
Well,
to beat.
it's doing all right. Won the Lakelands there, so it's going well.
She's grand, she does the job.
So are you specialising on loose rallies, on forestry stuff? Specialising on the forestry?
Not really, I enjoy the tarmac as well, but yeah, just the gravel's a bit more fun and sort of a bit more relaxed, and it's just enjoyable.
Right, and you've been doing a few events in Australia as well?
Yeah, exactly. We did one over there. It was sort of just a bit of practice for this, to be honest. But yeah, it was nice to do something over there, and it was a little bit different.
And whereabouts are you in Australia? Where do you live?
I live in Perth.
In Perth. Well, it's a big centre there, Alistair McRae and all that lot, yeah?
Yeah, the rallying's getting quite big over there, to be honest. Okay, maybe they don't just have the speed that we have here, but yeah, it's getting bigger.
And is it the same sort of R5s? Is that the same classes, or is it different?
Yeah, not so much if they can't just come with rare enough cars, but yeah, there's a few R5s.
Now, you came very close to winning the Billy Coleman Award. Was it last year or the year before? And that would have made a bit of a difference, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I've been close to winning it a few years, but yeah, just couldn't get it over the line for some reason. But yeah, it is what it is.
But you've been part of the Motorsport Ireland Academy. That's an incredible setup, that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is what you sort of take from it. It's for some people it works, for some people it doesn't. You get the sort of the highest point in motorsport, and you get the WRC, and you kind of get your eyes open, to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe doing a rally in Drumquin, you get more enjoyment from that. So yeah, that's where
you did a European round.
Yeah, I did a few WRC rounds as well, and as I say, you get to sort of the pinnacle of the sport, and people are telling you what to do and maybe change your driving style, and yeah, that wasn't really for me, and I enjoy coming here, and you know, I'm quick enough to do it here. I don't see why I had to change, why I had to drive, so that was it.
Did you have an ambition to be a professional?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Like every young driver, they want to be a professional, and I think that we had the speed to do it, and look, things weren't probably in the right place, but yeah.
Do I sense that ambition has dulled a little bit now?
It's just a bit of fun now.
What? Just fun?
Yeah, it's just fun now. Look, I'm only 28, but you're too old to go to any sort of professional level now, so yeah. Coming home and doing these races suits me. You know, I can live in Australia and have fun over there. So, yeah, this is perfect.
Money's good in Australia, is it?
I'm doing all right.
Is that where you get the money to rally in Ireland?
The old boy still pitches in too.
Keep in with him. Oh, very good. So, great rivalry with Jason Mitchell, who we're going to meet now in a second. You've managed to just pip him pretty regularly.
Yeah, him and Gahan as well. They've pushed me all the way, and yeah, I'm sure next weekend will be no different again.
Right. Well, I think it's a good time to meet the two people who will be trying extremely hard next weekend to beat you. Jason Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen, and Catherine McCourt. And Catherine has had a very successful season so far. He's come oh so close, Cahan, though, to those Bushwhacker wins in the last 4 years. What do you got to do to this man to beat him?
Just more of the same, I would say. Look, Paddy's a good driver. Can't take it away from him. We've tried hard the last 4 years, and this year will be no different. We're just going to have to try and get that extra wee bit, but it's very hard to find. He seems to get an extra wee bit every year too, so just getting it over the line. I think maybe you count what has been in it over the last 4 years. I don't think that it could have won any rally. You know, there's just like if you go back to last year, there was 0.7 of a second at the finish of it. So
and you had been in the lead by 1.4 seconds, so that was a bit of a disappointment. That very last stage, was it?
Look, the lead changed, I think, 4 times in the rally last year, from the start to the finish. So just shows you how competitive it is from stage to stage. So no, look here, we'll just go this year and see if we can get it over the line. Hoping to stop him in his tracks this year, but I've been trying the last 3 years, and it's been a tough battle. But we'll keep at it. We'll keep chipping away.
Patrick, it must be great fun to have such a close rival.
Exactly, yeah. If you're coming to these rallies and win it by minutes, it wouldn't be much fun in that. If I got an easy one at odd time, it would be okay. But yeah, it's great to have Jason and Gahan there pushing us all.
You know, the figures are incredible. Over the last 3 years, there's only been 6.8 seconds separating the two of you. That's amazing.
Exactly, yeah. You don't blink or he has a second out of you. So yeah, it's just basically flat out from the word go.
And again, Cahan, Lakeland stages, another slight demoralising result there.
Look here, I suppose, and from my point of view, to finish second to Paddy in any race, I know I'm on the money, like, so I took away from that rally, just, you know, it was good. It's probably only the second rally I've done in the gravel and the Chiar that I'm in. Again, Paddy's no different this year. He's only done a few rallies too, and probably if you look back at the last previous 3 years, it's been the same. We've just jumped in the car and went at it, kind of head for toe. I think the last 6 years I've only done 6 or 7 gravel rallies, and they've nearly all been up here in the Lakeland and the Bushwhacker. So, and Paddy's probably been the same. So it's good to know that the two of us can jump in the car and Jason alongside us here and put on a good show for everybody that's going out to watch. And it be a tight battle every year. And look, just hope that everybody this year's the same, and see how we can prevail in the next week or so.
Patrick, you've gone from Ford to Volkswagen, and Catherine, you've gone from Ford to Hyundai to Skoda. What's the R5 car to have?
Look, I don't think there's a wild lot of difference in any of them, but I suppose it's just what you're comfortable driving. To be honest, can't say anything bad about the Fiesta. Take the Fiesta to any of these rallies. Just struggled a wee bit in the tarmac with the Fiesta, so we changed to the Skoda. Well, we changed to the Hyundai and then we changed to the Skoda this year, but the Hyundai just wasn't for me, and changed to the Skoda now, and I'm enjoying it.
There's a lot of buzz about these Toyotas these days. The little.
There is. Look, the Toyotas seems to be a good car too. There's no taking it away from them either. But don't know. I think Skoda just seems to be a good fit for me in both tarmac and gravel. And we'll see what the next few rallies is. We've had a couple of good results in the Skoda this year, so we'll just keep chipping away at it.
And I can't go past you without asking about the Roger Albert Clark. I mean, to switch to a Mach 2, I mean, you're a very versatile man.
Look, it was always a rally I wanted to do from a young age, and took the plunge last year and said we'd go and do it. And look, we had no expectations, just went into the rally, and look, we kind of cruised about the first 2 days, and it kind of fell into our lap, to be honest. There's no point in saying any different the way it all fell, but I suppose it's one of them rallies you kind of have to be there at the end to finish.
Are you back this year? Going back this year?
Well, I wasn't to go back, but I took a mad notion there a week ago that I was going to go back, and it's kind of went out of my head again, but you never know what would happen.
Right. And you were second, of course, last year. You can only go one better.
Look, I'd love to win that rally, but again, over 5 days, you need everything to fall into place for you. You know, between the car, mechanically wise, and yourself. And look, just Aye, look here, I'll probably have enough going on this year without going to the Roger Clark now, but you never know. We'll see what happens.
Jason, Roger Albert Clark, more your age group nearly, is it?
Thanks, Plum. Yeah, funny, I was Paddy's age there. I actually thought Paddy was older there, nearly old enough to be Paddy's dad. But yeah, no, that's definitely a rally I'm going to do. If I try and get some sort of result over these two boys, I think I'll start looking down the Roger Clark, because we're probably getting to that stage.
You came from the world of drifting, and I mean, that is incredibly skilled, the drifting. I mean, and Ireland's very good at it. The James Deans, these guys. It's just, car control is mind-blowing.
Well, Plum, no, you're wrong there now. The only drifting I would have done was round the Diamond and Twin Cam and Castle Laird.
Ira Micra.
The police station was still open then. There was a roundabout out there, and you used to go round it and hope that they would come out.
But you've been in great form recently. You won the Dog Leap, you've won the Cork Forestry. Again, do you really prefer the loose rallies?
Yeah, no, for whatever I do enjoy the tire, but it just hasn't seemed to click with me, and I think partly the reason for that is I enjoy the loose so much. And look, I suppose it's nice, you know, like I suppose even like tonight, being able to be invited up by Paddy and Cahan there, you know, it's nice being at the sharp end of rallying, because for me that's what we're doing it for. But I suppose as far as the list goes, look, I'm nearly there, but I'm just not there yet, and I was sort of really hoping, that, you know, this Bushwhacker could have been the one that I could have put out a real challenge, and look, we have to see if that'll happen or not, but maybe excursion there at the Lakelands didn't help the situation with the Forestry Championship, so I'm in two minds still what to do here, because there's part of me wants to go and try and finish winning the Irish Gravel Championship, but there's another part of me wants to go and try and race the boys. But the risk with that is I could end up with nothing. So I'm probably I'm going to hold this decision maybe to the beginning of the week.
Well, you've 7 days to decide. Yeah. Was the car badly damaged in the Lakeland?
No, I was fairly lucky, so was, because I completely got it wrong, if I tell the truth. I went off the road at about 50 mile an hour, so I had read the wrong crest, and I was doing about 100, with about 40 to go to a sharp 3 right, so didn't work out the best. But fortunate enough, we landed on the swamp, so the damage was light, so there was a bit of good luck, I suppose. But for me, it was really disappointing, because if I tell the series of what happened at the rally, was I spent the whole week telling myself, you know, just go and get the championship sorted out, and we'll race next week. I met the 3 boys at the top of the hill before I went on the stage. I was in 32 mil. I says to myself, I just settle yourself here now, and I got on the stage, and got on the stage and got around the first 3 or 4 corners, and I felt good. Thought I was carrying good speed, and I do remember saying to myself, I wonder how far away I could be on 32 mil, and about another mile up the road I was off, so that's what happened. And well, you know, if I tell, it's pity I didn't have the in-car to show this, because after about 20 fucks out of Paddy, he says to me, I thought you weren't going to do that. And I says, climbing out of the car, I says, fuck, I didn't plan to, Paddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3 top drivers in the current R5 situation. 3 men going for the big win next weekend. Let me put a little final question to all 3 of you. First of all, Mr. Mitchell, what was your ambition now in rallying? What would you love to do?
Well, I suppose the Bushwhacker is the rally, because you know, look, I started rallying. I never followed rallying, never watched the rally. The first rally I went to, I was driving on it. So no big history with me in rallying. But Adam Lyons, that was here tonight, I don't know if he's way home or not, but he says to me, if you could win the Bushwhacker, you'd be the first person from Castleberg to do it. And that was... So that stuck on me. That stuck on me, so it did. And I suppose when I started to see that I was able to stay fairly close to the top runners, it was more realistic than trying to win the Donegal Rally. So that's, look, if I won the Bushwhacker, I'll be away to Roger Clark.
Well, you start with a great advantage. You start with a great advantage because you come from Castleberg, one of the capitals of Irish motorsport.
Yeah, no, right. Cairns and all.
Catherine, what's your ambition?
I just want to go back to the Lakeland here first before I do the ambitions. I said to Paddy at the end of stage one, I says, I knew Mitchell was going to do that. I get into the car and I says to Barry beside me, I says, that man's possessed. And lo and behold, I looked in the wing mirror and Vivian Hamill was coming behind me. But anyway, look, my ambitions, I've had two ambitions. One of them's to win Donegal Rally sometime. Don't know if I have the speed for that one now, but we'll see. And the Bushwhacker's the other. And look, we've been trying hard the last few years. And look, the pace, I suppose if you take Paddy out of the rally, the pace has been pretty good. So we'll just keep trying, and hopefully one of them will come over the line in the next few years before I'm getting too old and I can't do it. So I've only a few years left, I would imagine, definitely for the Donegal anyway. But I will keep ploughing away at the Bushwhacker and see how it goes. Paddy keeps coming home from Australia, and we'll keep the momentum going.
Well, Patrick, the way the roads are going in this country at the moment, the way they're all breaking up, Donegal's going to be a loose event soon. Would you like to win it?
I'll give it a go.
What's your ambition?
To be honest, it's just sort of enjoy it for as long as we can, and keep stopping these two boys.
Right. Well, you've done very well, all three of you, and you're all out next weekend. You're going to entertain us royally. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on stage tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's just about it. It's been a very busy night. We've met an awful lot of people. We've learnt, made tremendous memories of the Bushwhacker. So it's really up to me to say to the Omagh Motor Club, thank you very much for inviting me. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. The 2005 event next weekend is a complete sellout event. So here's to a fantastic 50th anniversary event where you'll be able to watch the legends like Hugh O'Brien and Robbie McGurk back out of the stages. Isn't that something really special? So can I wind up the evening by saying once again thank you to the Omagh Motor Club, and particularly to Gary Milligan, who did so much behind the scenes for this event, and particularly did so much for me in the research department, making my job easy. So, as I used to say on RPM, keep the revs up and safe home, everybody.